Hey guys, thank you again for joining us for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we're doing reflection two of two of the book we talked about yesterday, which is the Omnivore's Dilemma.
Yeah, so great book. We talked about it yesterday. We are on an expedited schedule for Yomo tonight because we have other agendas afterwards. So we're gonna see if we can do a Yomo sprint. We'll see. But anyway,
You're gonna have to talk fast.
right. I don't know if I can do this, but we'll see. So as we talked about yesterday, this is the Omnivore's Dilemma: A Natural
Mhm,
History of Four Meals by Michael Pollan. Great
mhm.
book, fantastic book. I highly recommend it. I feel like this is one of those books that you just I don't know, it's almost like transformational, and at least it was for me in terms of my knowledge of the food that we eat and why we eat it and where it came from and what to be aware of. So the title of this one is There Is Such a Thing as a Free Lunch. The gist of this is, humans, we think we're really smart. We think we can always design and problem solve our way out of whatever problems are presented to us in this world. We think that we can manufacture our way out of our issues. A good example from a book that we read in the past was, if you remember, it was called The Alchemy of Air, when they talked about literally taking nitrogen from the atmosphere. The world was on the precipice of a fertilizer shortage as the population was growing in the early 1900s. Our food production was not growing with it at the same pace. There was a real worry in the world of we're not going to be able to feed everybody. Like how are we going to get enough crops to feed everybody? So the Haber-Bosch methodology was crafted in Germany. That was what that whole book was about. The idea of literally sucking nitrogen out of the air, turn it into synthetic fertilizer, and figuring out a way to do that process. That was what that whole book was about. We figured it out. We did it, right? Well, we think that we solved the problem, right? Well, little do we know, synthetic fertilizers are a big pain in the ass. It's like nature doesn't go down swinging. We try to bend the laws of the universe to just suck nitrogen out of the atmosphere and be like, oh, we'll just print fertilizer. Well, mess with Mother Nature, she fights back with a vengeance. So synthetic fertilizers now we know have a lot of unintended side effects of causing overfarming, harming soil fertility, can cause runoff, it's poisoning water supplies and marine lives, attracts pests, can raise greenhouse gases, yada, 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 right? There's a whole lot of problems with just trying to impose our will on Mother Nature and to manufacture our way out of problems. So the thought then would be, okay, fine. Well, it's not like the problem's going to go away. How do you fix it, right? Well, I feel like there's this sentiment. You ever heard the saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch before?
Yep,
That's not true at all. Do you know what I'm going to say? You know why I'm going to say it?
because it's free lunch.
There is such a thing as a free lunch, and it's because a beaver must dam. We haven't said this in a really long time. So when a beaver is left to just do what it does, it's now think, oh shit, if these beavers just dam all day long, it's going to dam up waterways, it's going to block supply flow or whatever. Humans, actually, we've been fighting the beavers in the Pacific Northwest and California and the Western United States for a long time, and it's resulted in some catastrophic issues. But because, once again, we think that we can just problem solve. We see a problem in nature, we're like, oh, we'll just get rid of the problem. Let's fix it, and we think we solved it. And there's always way more downstream ramifications to what we were trying to do or not do at that point in time. Now, the reason why you must let a beaver dam and just leave it the fuck alone and let it do what it does is because when a beaver dams, it lives its meaningful work. It produces a whole lot of byproducts of value that others can then consume. And then those others, for instance, when there's a lot of ponds building up, the salmon now can freely swim upstream and jump over things and whatever, and it pulls them up a little bit. The bears come down, and now there's more water. The deers come down, and the wolves come down to hunt the deer, and trees grow next to the ponds, and then fungi and all the other stuff starts to grow in the area. The soil becomes more fertile. Then farming's better in that area, and I mean, like the list goes on and on and on. When you let other things do their purpose, the byproduct of that is literally a free lunch for somebody else. And then the byproduct of that person consuming that free lunch is and doing their meaningful work. It's another free lunch for somebody else. And then all of a sudden you have this beautiful ecosystem that's self-sustaining and everybody can thrive in it, where we don't have to bend our will to bend Mother Nature's, the will of the universe in order to accomplish our goals of our problems, right? Without having any foresight into the future. So there's this farm that Michael Pollan talks about in this book called Polyphase farms. It literally only focuses on putting the right animals in the right mixture in this particular farm, where the byproduct of one helps the byproducts of the other, and the byproducts of the others help the other byproducts of the other. And they produce incredible meat and incredible other byproducts that they're able to give out to this world. And they do it all completely sustainably, and they actually save more money doing it, right? I think that's actually the weird part about this is they spend far less money than other farming operations out there because they allow natural habitats to take shape and not try to bend their will on the process, right? because when you do that, it costs a lot of money. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
producing synthetic fertilizer is a lot more expensive than producing just shit out of a cow, right? You know, or whatever it is. So anyway, long story short, like this was a great reminder for me, an important reminder for what we're trying to do at Clubany of get the fuck out of people's way, but then create the ecosystem where let them be themselves and let them do what they do, encourage that, foster that, help them to be the best that they can be, and then the byproduct of what they do well will be then consumed by others, and then help them to produce what they do well, and then, you know, yada yada yada, and the list goes on until there's a self-sustaining ecosystem where we can always depend on that. Because if you think about business world, what's the number one thing you have to, it's the first problem you have to solve. Almost everybody thinks of, well, if I'm going to start a business,
Yeah, make money.
I got to have money, right? It takes money to make money, right? So I got to go get money from somewhere. Like, that's not true at all. That is not anything to do with business at all. Business is about producing some tangible good or service that adds value to somebody else. Like, that's it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, you're talking about like how people have been conditioned to think different than what it's supposed to be. Right? So you're supposed to, like you say, there's no such thing as free lunch, right? Where did that come from?
Probably people think they were freeloading off of other people's hard work, and they're like, don't come around me. Like, you know, I'd be like, come around me.
And then the next question is, you know, who say you have to have money to make money? That's something that I think people have gotten self-delusion into thinking that, hey, this is the way to go, and this is what people told me to do. And to me, it's opposite of what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be who you're supposed to be, not who you want to be.
Right.
Right.
100%. I mean, that's like making a beaver, you know, go hunt deer. They're like, I don't do that. What do you want me to do? I don't do that. I guess I can try to, maybe if I spent my whole life strategizing and problem solving on how to kill a deer, maybe I can.
As a beaver to go hunt deer, it probably can't bring any value to the ecosystem. That means the ecosystem breaks. That means that no free lunch for anyone.
Right. Exactly. It's a very, very intricate system that needs to be monitored, closely understood, but also not intervened with. This is the most important thing, is we always want to intervene. This is one of my biggest epiphanies. It's like the Superman complex of humanity. You know, when we see a problem, our first instinct is to act. There's a lot of good in that, but there's a ton of bad in that.
About, you know, when you talk about when you trying to give Luke the antibiotic, right?
Right.
What was the principle that we talk about is, you know, when you give somebody, like, do no harm, remember? Because the thing is, when you give somebody something, right, what's the chances of you doing something good versus the chances of doing something bad, right? When you don't know,
at least flip a
don't
coin.
anything, right? I agree. You're gonna have to stay out.
You can't intervene. Like, that's the thing with, you know, I don't want to ever speculate on this stuff, but
you can observe and see.
We don't know what would have happened if we didn't invent synthetic fertilizers. I was going to go back to that example, right? Like, we don't know what would happen. Like, who knows? Maybe we do hit this critical threshold where humanity isn't able to be supported by our own methodologies. I have a feeling that probably wouldn't have happened.
It would not happen because we belong to an ecosystem. Right. So it's going to self-govern. It's not going to get to the point where, because the thing is, it's just like you and me. You and I get stuck in the well. You have to push against my back, and I have to push against your back for me to climb. So for us to climb, we just push each other. The ecosystem works in a way that, you know, when some input is, you know, let's say the population is increased, the other factors and variable will also increase to match it. This is the way equilibrium works. Right. So in an ecosystem, it will always balance itself out as long as you leave it alone. You don't go in there and you mess it up, because if you go in there, it's like throwing a wrench into the gear. You have this giant machine that's moving and you throw a wrench in it. That's what you're doing when you're making fertilizer out of thin air, right? That's what you're doing. You are intervening. You're putting a wrench into the system. Right.
And the system doesn't stop. It'll morph and it'll change and it'll figure out how to come back at you with the vengeance. You may not see it right now, but it'll eventually catch back up to you. I mean, like, you see this all over. Actually, one of the books that I read that we were going to do in the future, it's called The Sixth Extinction. It was about how humans are leading up to the sixth extinction. And whether that's true or not, like, I mean, like mass extinction event or whatever in the world that we've ever seen, whether that's true or not, it's kind of irrelevant in my opinion. But what was true, and what I do definitely believe from what they shared in this book, you know, pretty much everywhere that we go, we fuck shit up and destroy it. Like, I'm like, that's the commonality amongst the extinction events of so many animals, minus the whole dinosaur, you know, asteroid scenario. It's really been us. Like, you know, it's wherever we go, we just obliterate ecosystems.
What I said before, the devil doesn't know he's a devil.
Right.
Because the thing is, the person that's trying to help you the most, he has good intentions. He just didn't know
Right.
he's messing it up. Well, the thing is, yeah, politicians, they have good intent at first, and then eventually they get really like drawn into some whatever, I don't know, some kind of circuit that they just can't resist, right? Just like I told you, a kid is not bad or good. A kid is actually good, but then when he gets sucked into a gang, he becomes bad. He does bad things.
Right.
So if you are a good person and you want to go and make changes to law, you get sucked into this wheelhouse of politics. Well, you can't really survive doing the neo, like whatever moral things that is, it is anti-politicians. You just can't survive in it. You can either get thrown out or you have to be absorbed in, they go absorbed and you become one of them. And so you act and behave because eventually you get jaded by the acts, right? And so you say, well, it's okay. Just like I told you before, when you accept certain things, you say it's okay. What was it? Extreme radical or something like that, right? Remember?
Radical candor.
Radical candor, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you start taking some of these things and you push it, and then you layer it over with like some honey, and eventually, hey, it's okay, right? So this poison apple, if you glaze over honey, it's okay. So eventually, that's what you do is you jade people with certain coating of certain things, right?
Right.
And so that's what happened. But in what I see as the natural settings of thing is, it's always been designed that way. Designed by no design.
Right.
Right. It's designed by that way, like because there's no design.
Intelligently unintelligent,
The design is no design. And the moment you modify, which is quote unquote design, because you are forethought, put your forethought into it, you are designing the undesigned.
Right.
It's like the anti of it, and then you basically go and create havoc. That means that means it doesn't matter how good intentions are. When you do something to a system that is self-sustaining, you will break it. Just like when we talk about they do no harm, meaning like the thing is you don't know what you do will cause harm or cause good. When you don't know, you don't do anything.
Like the butterfly effect or whatever, it's like you go back in time, don't touch anything, like because you don't know what one stupid thing you do and what'll happen in the future. Or really like two thoughts come to mind when you're saying this. First thought is maybe that is our purpose as a species, is to just fuck shit up. Maybe we are the
but I don't
ecosystem testers.
I don't think that's what
some dipshits got to break the rules to be able to so the rules can get stronger, right? Maybe we're the dipshits that have been sent here to break all the rules and fuck shit up, and we're just really good at it.
I mean things have always evolved just fine without us. So like I say, to me, I think, and this is my personal opinion, I don't know about you guys, but my personal opinion is I'm here on Earth to enjoy the experience of life. I'm not here on Earth to fuck shit up. That's not what I want to do. I don't know about you guys. I'm not on a mission.
Put a dent in the universe,
I don't fucking care about the dent in the universe. I just want to be here, right? Enjoy the experience. Talk to my friends out, talk about shit like this on Yomo, doing the things I like to do, smile a lot, and that's my purpose. I don't know if your purpose is to go and put a dent in the universe, or your purpose is to go put it, fuck shit up. I don't know. I mean, I just find that hard to believe.
I don't know, man. It's sometimes fucking shit up is just fun to watch the chaos, like I mean.
I think that's where you get kind of.
It's very Mapache,
Well, the thing is, I'm saying is everything has a design. Even the Mapache has a design, right? And so you really want to do the things that you like to do, because let's say you're talking about the Mapache, the raccoons, right? The thing is, you're gonna have to get this Mapache to go and throw trash all over the ground and do all the things so that these trash can get dispersed. Right, and that's his job, right? He has a purpose. But for us to go, hey, I'm gonna fuck shit up, meaning you took it the wrong way, and there is always there is a design for what the action is how you see things. May say, well, what the fuck do we need beavers for? Let's get rid of them, right? And then when you get rid of them, then you see the impact on okay, oh shit, I didn't know that I needed to be beaver.
I see what you're saying, and I think you make a really good point. And you made me think of Luca. Like Luca fucks shit up all day long, but he doesn't mean to. He's just doing what he does, right? Like now, if you intentionally say I'm going to fuck shit up, that's a problem because he is living his purpose, and that purpose is to be a chaos agent until he figures out what what isn't whatever his boundaries are, right? And then but like kids naturally are chaos agents, right? But that they're not doing it on
Well,
purpose.
that's what you
Like,
label him as.
Right.
Man, the thing is just we basically put a label on things. And so
Right.
it's your perspective that he's creating chaos, but isn't that chaos and that like order? Like I said, the design of no design. What does that mean? Because I'm labeling something and it's hard to understand, but you and I understand what I mean because we have deep level of discussion already on terms of the design of no design.
Right.
But you say, hey, when somebody fucks shit up or when someone creates a chaos agent, well, you're gonna need chaos agent, right? Chaos agent, that's what it does. It needs to create these variations. Without the variations, there's no movement. So it's like the
at
engine,
a macro
right?
level, that's what we do.
At macro level, that's what you do. But the thing is, that's what I'm saying is
humans,
when you say chaos, it's imply a negative connotations, right?
Right.
We label something and we say, well, we stay away from it. That's why eventually over the generations, we have becoming like further away from the natural being. Just like we say, hey, there's no such thing as perpetual motion. In physics, they say perpetual motion, it is not possible, but it is possible everywhere I see. You're talking about you and I breathing oxygen, right? Where did that come from?
I don't know.
The fucking trees.
Oh, all right. Well,
right?
There you go.
And you breathe out carbon dioxide. Well, who needs carbon dioxide? The fucking trees.
Right.
And so the thing is, that is perpetual motion. You're talking about the weather. The sun shines, right? It brings in, and it because the weather is perpetual motion, but you need
I don't like
from the
I don't
sun,
like rain,
blah blah
so
blah.
let's block
But
it
the
out.
thing is, but the thing is, you say, well, that's your understanding of the sun providing energy, but something else is providing energy for the sun. You don't know that, but I can tell you today, right? Because right now everything's saying, well, there's no such thing as perpetual motion in physics. That's the law, right? There's no such thing as perpetual motion, but according to what I see is on Earth in itself, it is perpetual motion, but the counter reasoning is that it needs power from the sun because you're talking about the tree needing the sun to grow and produce it. But that's what you think is the only thing that's going to provide the energy. But do you know that this is the only thing that provides energy to the sun, or the sun just self-sustaining? Or maybe the sun has other kind of variations that they can provide itself more suns, right? And so if you say, well, there's no such thing as perpetual motion and everything comes directly from the sun as the energy source, let me ask you, where did the sun come from? How did it come out to be? Is it a chicken and egg question, right? So the thing is, your reasoning, it's kind of sound in a way, but I can break it by saying, well, where did the sun come from? How did the sun create it? Where did it?
We accept what we see.
And then you go and you say, well, blah, 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 the big bang things. And you said that, but I'm saying is, as a natural tendency of things, it has an ecosystem and it's perpetual. To me, naturally, everything is free lunch. So to me, the reflection today is seek free lunch.
Yes.
In the natural way. There's a free lunch in a not good way, meaning you go and you steal from somebody. And but the thing is, look for free lunch because that's the best optimal path for anyone, because your free lunch is actually giving out somebody else, because it's got passing forward kind of deal. Paying forward. Because the thing is, when you look for the free lunch, the free lunch that you have, just like when I take carbon, when I take oxygen from the tree, right? Naturally throw away the waste of CO2, and that
are byproducts of what we naturally are supposed to do, whether that be meaningful work or other stuff in our life, is consumable by somebody else. That is the whole point.
That's why it's a free lunch.
Value. It is literally
a free lunch. So you're talking about
your trash is somebody else's treasure. You're in our case, this is what we're recording right now, and this conversation is a byproduct of reading some books, learning some stuff, writing some stuff down, figuring this shit out for ourselves. And then we are having a conversation, and this is value for us, but the byproduct of us just recording what we do and making it available to somebody else is they don't have to do anything. All they have to do is just go consume it, and they can go do whatever they want. It's a free lunch. Like,
right.
I mean, I guess we could put a paywall in front of it, but like, why? I mean, I don't care. If anything, only just ruin it for us. Like, you know, I mean,
well, the thing is, you think about it, what do we need? What do we need?
Just you and me and a topic.
We need meaningful relationship. That's what I need, right? So I am providing this documentation for free. What I need is relationship. I need, because for me, like I say, my purpose,
I want to share. That's what I want to do.
My purpose that I found in life is I need to enjoy the life that I have. That is to find joy in the things that I do. And so the thing that I found that even though I'm an introvert, I seek relationship. I seek the connection between people. And that to me is valuable. And I don't want to lose it. That's why what I produce, it's gone, you're gonna consume it for free. And because when you consume it, you're gonna become what? Company-esque.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you come into creating these relationships. So like I say, my product, right? You consume it's free. I'm not putting on a paywall. But the moment you consume it, you turn into this, we talk the DO and DI, right? Deliberate individual,
the DDI,
right?
The deliberately developmental individual.
So you consume this content for free. It's free lunch. You automatically become DDI.
Right.
And DDI is gonna foster this relationship, and eventually probably gonna be connecting with you one way or another, right? And to me, even in the simplistic example, that's an ecosystem. That's the free lunch, right? Because how do I get free relationships to somebody who understands who I am, how you think, right? So somebody's gonna have to do some shit to become that person. So right now, if I go out to somebody and I ask, hey, you know, I want to talk about, you know, life. I don't want to talk about the elephant. I want to talk about the rider. It's like somebody's going to say, hey, get the fuck away from me.
I would say 99%.
99%. I mean, 99.99% of people, it's going to say, get the fuck away from me. So in order for me to get that, I have to pay somebody and train them, right? But on this end, I'm still living my life, producing the content. Somebody consume it. They automatically becomes that, and I get this free person to connect with.
I mean, to be honest, you're spot on with this whole assessment, because I get a free lunch of you consuming what's important for you, which is a meaningful relationship and talking about stuff that you want. You get my free lunch because I'm producing content that is for a byproduct for something that I find immensely valuable for my own life and for my relationship with my daughter and other things that I'm doing. But like, you know, this isn't work. Like this is hard. Like, I mean, it's like a beaver must dam, right? You know, it's not like building a dam is fucking easy. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, taking your little beaver teeth and going to knock down a bunch of trees and spending all day long dragging wood shit everywhere and building a perfect dam or whatever.
Well, it's easy for the beaver. It's difficult for us.
It's fun. Like it's meaningful for them.
Well, so it's subjective because it's easy for you to go play tennis. It's terrible for me to go play tennis. I mean, I can't run shit.
I think we gotta.
I think it's being impeccable with your word, right?
It's running downhill, right? It feels a little more effortless than it does the opposite
what I'm saying
way when
is
you're running uphill, which feels like very labored. You know,
when you work, you actually put less effort and energy into the action. When you play, you're actually putting twice or even 10 times as much energy into the action. Because when you work, right, you probably like do some shit and then you sit there and you write some stuff. When you're on the court, you're running back and forth, you are exerting so much into that action. But for you to say, well, it's exhausting to work, and it's so fun to play. So it's subjective in terms of what you say is easy, and it's subjective in terms of you know, because the thing is, it's not. If you look at if you're looking at like the quantitative, right? It's how much calories that you have to burn to actually make something move with your leg, your muscle, you know, hitting the racquetball, whatever it is, right? If you look quantitatively, and yes, doing the beaver thing is the hardest thing. It's probably the highest energy requirement among everything, right?
But it produces the biggest value when you do the stuff that you're naturally supposed to do. Like, I mean, it produces massive value for other people. Like because
massive amount of energy is put into it. The beaver that is he is designed for that.
Doing a lot of work on your behalf. Like the salmon gets to swim.
I mean, you and I are on book. I mean, you're talking
right.
about massive amount of effort.
Oh yeah, it's a ton. That's a ton.
So,
I mean, it's almost
how much do you put into that as a person saying, "Oh shit, this guy is basically like giving all the free shit out there for somebody to become like more in tune with themselves." Hey,
right.
instead of paying $10,000 to go to one of these gurus to tell
Tony
you, hey,
Robbins or whatever,
be happy with what you got. Like, it's like you know what I mean? Say you go there and say rah rah rah, be happy with what you got, or
just do it.
Go
just
eat the frog,
do
right?
it.
Go eat the frog, right? Do the thing people don't want to do, blah blah blah, right? No, it's not about the thing. The point is not to do something that people do. It's do things that you want to do. So that's.
You ever see this?
Yes.
Just do it. Hey, you said tomorrow, so just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it.
So isn't just do it?
It's impossible.
Good.
I mean, it's a Nike slogan, so you can't just use it.
Do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Just do it.
What did he make this for?
Stop giving up.
That's awesome.
All right. What we're talking about?
I hadn't watched that in a long time. It's really funny. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's just, hey, actually, we can put a little flare, a little clubbity flare piece to the Shia LaBeouf, just do it. It's just do what you're supposed to do. Do it. Like you like it, just do it. You enjoy this, just do it. I mean, it's no different than what we're talking about. It's like, hey, chickens like to eat stuff and shit, just do it. They like, pigs, like we learned with Christopher Hogwood, they love their slops. They will eat anything, man. Mm-hmm. Like, just do it. Go eat your slops. Fungi, like, they love to, they're decomposers, right? Like, they will destroy everything. Like, I don't think they need to have a Shia LaBeouf fungi yell, just do it, to the rest of the fungies, out there.
LaBeouf mushrooms.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's a Shia LaBeouf mushroom that just yells at all the fungi, and he's like, do it!
Just do it!
Like, it's dumb that we even need to say this to ourselves. Like, figure out what you like to do and do it. Like, it's not that crazy, right? Like, you don't need.
Yeah, I think we've been conditioned to stay away from it. Like, people say, hey, you have to think about society in general. You cannot help society unless you play your part. To me, that is the biggest contribution you can have to society. Right. So you can go say, hey, you're on a team, a basketball team or football team or whatever, right? You go say a tennis player, you're on double, right? You can't really go and you tell your partner how to do his part. You just do your part, right? Because you tell him to do his part, you're not doing your shit, right? Yep. Oh, I gotta go help this guy.
This goes back to coaching. This is what we've talked about a little bit. This is what I was just writing about this morning, actually, was, teaching versus coaching is two completely different things. If you try to tell your partner what to do, you're trying to teach them. And they're probably going to go, why the fuck are you trying to teach? Like, what, do you think you're better than me? Do you think that, you're my partner here? Like, are you trying to tell me that I'm not equal to you, that I'm not good? Like, you need to teach me how to hit a tennis ball here? I don't want you to teach me. Like, that's the whole point of being a coach. Do no harm. Back away and ask an intelligent question of, hey, I've noticed that we've not been able to be successful when this play happens. What do you think we should try? And they'll probably go, well, maybe I should poach on that ball. Okay, do it. Like, cause I could have went over to him and said, poach, the ball's right there. Just poach it. It's like, why aren't you doing this? Versus Like that's what a teacher would say. Like, hey, do you need me to teach you how to run this way and swat a ball down? Do you need me to teach you how to see the ball and run and turn and do this? No, you don't need me to teach you that. But what you need to do is to fucking think, and I have to like play games with you to get you to understand. Oh yeah, I do see that pattern happening, and like all I have to do is move here, and pattern solved. You know, yeah, like you know what I mean? Like it's but nobody wants you to be nobody wants to be taught, right? Unless you're fundamentally like have no idea what's going on. If you're brand new to tennis or whatever, fine, you want to be taught. You can't be thinking higher level stuff, right? But once you have basic level technique and fundamentals and foundational level laid there, nobody wants to I don't care how good of that foundational level you are, nobody wants to be taught. Like they want to be coached at that point in time, right? You know, and this is, you know, this is who we are. We can't, like we spend so much time, you know, I don't know, like it's just get out of your own way and get out of everybody else's way. Literally, that's the thing. It's just get the fuck out of your own way, get out of everybody else's way, and just do what you're supposed to do. Let your elephant be your elephant. Oh, are you on mute? I can't hear you. I lost you.
You hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I'm saying that, you know, in most cases, we just shouldn't do anything. We just need
almost all cases. Almost all cases.
Almost all cases. We just only focus on what we supposed to do.
You should probably do nothing other than what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do. If you're
like, how are you supposed to know if the fox kills the deer? Like, if you're like, hey, 99% of the time, I'm going to let that slide. But like this one time, I'm going to go, you know what? Wolf, not today. Not today, Wolf. I'm putting my foot down. You are not killing this deer. And the wolf's going to be like, what the fuck's wrong with you, man?
I mean, you're essentially like creating the butterfly effect. Even in the 1% of the time you're doing something, a beaver does something other than what he's supposed to do. You're creating a butterfly effect. I mean, it's going to create devastating changes somewhere else.
Good. Like, who are you to interject onto somebody else's purpose? Like, this is the whole point of this whole conversation, is when you go outside of your bounds and interject on somebody else's purpose and somebody else's being, because you think that you understand what needs to happen.
But that's like, the thing. How can you understand more than the other person who spend more time doing what they're naturally gifted at? And so that just create a wrench in the whole, you know, ecosystem right there. Right. So it's like backseat driver. You have no control over the car, but you're telling people how to drive. It's like, you know, press, you know, 20 kilojoules less than the last 5 minutes ago. Like, what the fuck? That's the thing is, you know, it's illogical to think that you can tell somebody to do something that you're not even in. That's why don't listen to anyone. Just listen to inspiration. The only way you can learn is you have to take it and make it your own. That's the only way. I don't care if you're a beginner. Let's say I'm a beginning tennis, right? I have to say, well, Chris says this, but how do I use it? How do I use it? It's not how do I use it. And so to me, you have to make things your own for you to learn. You have to stay in your lane and do your part. This is the best contribution you have to society and to the ecosystem in itself.
This is exactly literally what I was just writing about this morning is like the best you could ever do I mean, it always happens. The shit that I'm writing about is well, you know, obviously it's top of mind for me. So, but what you're talking about is exactly what I was just thinking about today. So like your writer really is a coach. Your writer can't even tell your elephant what to do. Like your writer can subliminally observe and ask questions and help your elephant to understand. Because the only thing that's ever going to change is if your elephant understands what that is it. Like unless your elephant internalizes it, understands it, and comprehends it, and can make it a part of your subconscious. Like there's no other way for it to become a part of who you are. And the same thing of any coach on the outside. Like you can't just stand on the sidelines of your basketball team and yell, fucking score, score, you know, like that's not how it works. Like they're like, yeah, I know we're supposed to score, like, but like I don't know how to shoot a basketball, like until
And
Chris
now I'm distracted, so
now I'm distracted. Right? This is exactly what happens with our riders when we try to teach our elephants, right? If you say if you're let's just pretend your internal coach is yelling, you know, at your elephant, fucking like okay, I'm a bad basketball player. If I was on a basketball court and I was like, okay, Chris, put it in the hoop, and I'm yelling, put it in, like just put it in, just put it in, you know, and my elephant's like, I'm trying, I don't know how to do this yet. You could ask the elephant a better question is like, hey, I notice when we are, you know, trying to shoot a basketball, like it seems like we miss it to the left every single time.
Exactly.
And then what would you change about that? Well, I think it's because I'm actually a little off balance, you know, and going to the and moving this way as I'm shooting. So maybe if I just like focus on keeping myself grounded and my feet on the floor and you know and like followed through or something, like maybe that would change it. Okay, great, do that. Like that's what a coach does versus somebody else going, you fucking miss it again, fucking make it, you know.
Shoot straight.
Shoot it in the hole. You can't do that. That's not how it works, right? It's like Buff yelling at you, just do it. What do you mean, just do it? Like, you know, I don't know what my purpose is. You can't just yell at me to just do my purpose, you know? Maybe you should ask, hey, any idea what your purpose is? No, I haven't really thought about that.
What do you like to do? When you do something, how do you feel, right? It's not about, okay, what's your purpose? Do your purpose. Just do it.
Oh my God, there's this chick on the Peloton. It drives me nuts. I've not ridden on my wife loves the Peloton, right? So she went during
your wife like to get yelled at.
So before the pandemic, my wife used to love to go to spin classes or whatever, right? And then obviously the pandemic came and we were in the hospital all the time. And like, anyway, we just made the decision to buy a Peloton so she could be able to exercise at home. She uses it all the time. She uses it almost probably every day, you know, but like, I hate it. First off, like it's not even riding a bike. I make fun of her. I'm like, you know, like, what's the point of this thing? At least when you run on a treadmill, like you're still running. Like it's still the same activity you would do outside. That's not the same activity. You're on a stationary bike. You're going nowhere. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is my feelings aside of the Peloton. I used to ride it. I used to try to ride it once a week for my workout on Fridays, right? And I was like, I'll just push myself, change up my routine a little bit. You know, I did this for like 6 months straight. It was okay. I don't really enjoy it. I don't really like the workout at all. I don't like the feeling of it. I feel like my ass always hurts. But the worst part about it was every single time that I would get on this one particular chick, she would yell at me the entire time going, what's your why? What's your purpose? What's your why? What's your why? And I'm like, I just want to fucking exercise. That's why. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Quit yelling at me about this. I'm like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Am I doing something wrong? Can I just pedal? Can I just fucking pedal, lady? It was like, Jesus Christ, quit yelling at me.
So funny.
That's not a joke. I would tell my wife every single time I'd get off and I'm like, who's that fucking chick? And she's like, oh, so-and-so. And she's like, I like her. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, different people have different purpose. Maybe, yeah, people.
Anyway, I don't even talk. But sorry, I totally derailed you on that. We're talking about people yelling at people. Like, you know, it's like.
But we're talking about just doing your purpose. And a lot of times they're yelling at you and you don't know what your purpose is. Like, what's your why? Well, I don't know. Is it applicable here?
Right. Yeah, it's not. I just wanted to get a workout in and spend some time with my daughter and listen to some music while I'm trying to get into a flow state. You know what keeps me out of a flow state? Somebody's screaming in my face, what's your why? There's zero flow that can be had when somebody's just yelling at you the entire time. Today, when I was running, there's this trail. There was an old railroad line that they turned into like a paved path that goes for like 15 miles or something like that. You know, it starts in my neighborhood and then it goes really far east from where I'm at. It takes me about 1.5 miles to get to the trail from my house. So I always notice whenever I'm running on the streets and stuff, like I'm always a little distracted. I want to get into that flow state, but like I kind of have to be a little bit more aware. There's cracks in the sidewalks, or if I'm out in the street, there's cars driving by me, or I got to turn left, turn right. I got to be aware of my surroundings. Right. I got to be like somewhat like on edge a little bit because I don't want to get hit by a car, or trip, or fall, or whatever hazards are in the way. But as soon as I hit this trail, it's every single time that I do it. It's like it's just such a straight shot. It's just tree lined the entire way because it used to be an old railroad that would run through an area that was totally away from any inhabitants. So it's just this pure straight line, paved path, trees on the side. Like I can see for, you know, miles in front of me, basically, for the most part. And like, I don't know, man. Like I just like zone the fuck out, and like that's when I can finally feel Amelia's presence, you know. And I just like I can just focus on breathing and listening to a book, and like and whatever. It's just like everything just like condenses, because like you have to crowd out the noise. Like when the noise is all in your head, like you can never get to the flow state you want to get to, and that's when meaningful work happens. That's when you produce your byproducts. I guarantee you there's nobody yelling at beavers while they're damming. I don't think that they're fucking yelling in their own head of like can you imagine like a little beaver Shia LaBeouf like just do it, and in their head they're like I am doing it, like what do you want me to do? Like, or somebody or another beaver on the sidelines going, what's your why, beaver? And they're like I don't know, like I just want to be by myself and do this, like it's just like leave us alone, like it's like leave fucking everybody else alone. Let them just get into let their elephants be their elephants, and then the more that you can help people to do that, the more that they can produce their free lunch for other people. You just can't do that unless you let people get into a state where they can produce the free lunch.
This is why we want to go the other road now here, because that's essentially you let the nature take its course.
Right.
And the free lunch for me is always in nature, and as long as you don't intervene, you stay the F out, you will have free lunch, and that free lunch will feed the next thing, and the next thing will feed the next thing. So if you don't do free lunch, you're actually causing more harm than good. You think about it, it's counterintuitive to how we think today. We think today is like, hey, there's no such thing as free. And everybody knows that. Everybody knows there's no such thing as free lunch. But that is farthest from the truth. Because to me, it's massive value.
Good.
I mean, the beaver does this thing. It's massive value. I mean, the thing is, the moment you took away the beaver, what happens to the rainforest in
look at the West Coast? I mean, there's so many animals that are dead or endangered or dying, or there's the salmon runs less every single year. I mean, it's there's like, and people
because there's no free lunch anymore.
Right.
Because the beaver, you took away the beaver because you say, hey, no more free lunch for you, beaver. Well, that free lunch is supposed to feed and pay forward. And so you're talking about like daisy chains effects. And that's the butterfly effect we're talking about, is a compound effect that's in action. And the moment you took one thing out, you are creating a cascading like tornado downstairs.
I mean, yes, it's a shitstorm. I mean,
that's what I'm saying is when you have the mentality of there's no such thing as free lunch, think about how much devastating you are causing.
You might win in the interim. Like you might,
but you don't win because you have to
pay for it.
Well, not only that, somebody's paying for it. A lot of people are paying for it down the line, but you're also paying for it, because the thing is, if you took the free lunch route, you are taking something in, right? Without actually because the thing is, you have to make sure that you don't intervene. Meaning, when you intervene, meaning say, hey, I'm going, let's say something is free, and say, well, instead of being free, you give somebody $1. For like, let's say there's water or bread or whatever. Instead of being free, you give somebody $1. That $1 is a wrench in the system, because that person receives $1. The next thing they do is, okay, I'm gonna give this person less because the other guy give me $1, I will give him more. So you're creating a havoc to the system. You think about it.
Right.
Even a fucking $1, an extra thing for, hey, you did a good job. Okay, he's gonna start say, well, I'm not gonna give this guy a piece of bread. I'm gonna give this guy 2 pieces of bread. So you are causing havoc to the system, and then it stops. This is why we fucked everything up, because of our short, like, visions of I mean, people keep saying, hey, why do we need the beaver? We don't understand the devastating impact until we took away the beaver, and you see the devastating impact is so massive, because we are short-sighted. And that's the thing is, you cannot, like I say, do no harm. Meaning, if you don't understand the implications down the line into the 100th degree, don't do anything, because nature has its own ecosystem. It has its own course, and the best you can do is be a participant. Right. Don't go in there and trying to nut something, because I guarantee you, something like this, like in India and other third world countries, there's a lot of homeless kids. They go out there and they ask for money, right? It's homeless kid. They're hungry. They're asking for money. What do?
I mean, most of
You
us
give
want
it
help
money.
right
When
now.
you give it money,
Isn't that the welfare argument? Like the whole
no,
welfare
no,
state?
no. This is more primitive than that.
Oh, I know, but isn't that on the macro level, like what we try
Yes,
to do?
it creates massive devastating impact, because the thing is, the kid you give money to, the bad adult who sees them, uses them. They go in there and they break their legs, break their arm, scoop out their eyes, and
Oh my
make
God.
him to. I'm seriously, and also that because you give money to this guy, because it makes money, they kidnap kids, and they do that. They scoop out the people's eye and break their legs, break their arms, and make them become this beggar for them. So when you give kids, not only that you are creating this system of bad deeds to continue, but you are creating this life for this kid. So for me, is I never ever give money to a kid. I will give them food, but I will never give money to a kid. Right? So you think about it, this is the primitive way. So, but you imagine a welfare system. Yes, you don't, because the thing is, we cannot think that far. When you say, "Hey, we create welfare system for people, for people, we're helping people." The thing is, the devil doesn't know he's a devil. When you give money to somebody, you think you're doing a good deed, but the thing is, you don't understand the impact down the line. You think it was a good deed, and it was a good intention, but it wasn't a good outcome.
Right.
So you think about what I say. Is that reasonable to you? Because to me, in my country and in India, you go watch a Slumdog Millionaire, right? It's the same thing. That's why in other countries, the kids usually get kidnapped. And now today it's getting worse, because the people who get kidnapped, right? There's even adults who get kidnapped because they kidnap for their organs, for their eyes, their spleen, the kidney. And people over here will actually pay. Like, let's say you go to a hospital and you need a kidney transplant, and you can't get in on the list, or the list too long. You go out to the other country and you buy these organs. Well, where do you get the organs from? So do you understand, like, a tiny deed that you do? Like I said, the butterfly effect. I mean, you think about the flap of a wing of a butterfly create a monsoon on the other side of the world.
Right.
So the butterfly effect, it is compounding so much. It is tremendous devastation. So you look at a welfare, you say, well, welfare is good. Is it? We don't know, because there's so much variable that goes into play. And so how you know that did you do something good?
Yep.
When everybody keeps saying, hey, you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man a fish, he eats his whole life. So the thing is, you're not supposed to give him the fish.
Right.
Guide him. Don't tell him.
Coach him.
That's what I'm saying. What would you do? Right? I'm not giving you money, because that is just killing you. Basically, I'm putting end to who you are, who as a person. Because you, as a person, as a human being, I believe we are born with the faculty to do the things that we're supposed to do. You have the ability to do everything. You have the ability to be whatever it is that you need to be. It's just that you were somehow conditioned to think that you could not. And so instead of giving somebody a fish, giving somebody $1 or whatever, you ask them a question. Right?
I have a theory on that one, though. Like, it's, if your rider is supposed to be the coach to your elephant, it's who coaches the coach, right?
Ecosystem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though, is like, this is the fundamental important. Once you can teach your rider how to learn and be coachable, to then how to coach your elephant, right? Like, once that is a part of your being, like, then it's now sustainable, where, like, I know where my coaches, so these are our coaches, true, is Michael Pollan. Like, we're having a conversation right now, like, and then you and I are having a conversation, and that turns into my rider thinking about this and asking intelligent questions to my elephant, going, hey, like,
everything comes down to relationship, because Michael Pollan is connecting with us through his books.
Exactly.
Right? We're talking about Anne Frank, right?
It's and he didn't learn this on his own.
And talking about you, right? You're connecting us through your writing, right? These are the relationship. This is how I was coached.
Yes.
Who's coaching me? It's not like you're the master, but you and I are on the same time. But it's your connections. It is your relationship with me that I'm able to learn, and you also able to learn.
Right.
So So the relationship is actually the coach, because it gives us the feedback. Like I said, you and I know well. I have to push against your shoulder, and you have to push against my shoulder for how to move up.
Yep. This is reinforcing my own lessons that I've learned. I forget these all the time. Like I forget this shit all the time. At the end of this whole YOMO journey, I know we're going to keep going, but let's just pretend it ended at 365. I would almost be like, can we just go redo this again? Do you remember all of the lessons along the way? Like I don't.
No,
It's
you don't.
triggers
But
every once
that's
in a
what
while,
I'm
but,
saying
like,
is that there's
right.
certain so anything you do, the variable of time has to be included.
Right.
You cannot do anything in a short span. Okay, you need the time for it to sink in, and so
Yes.
you're gonna have to practice it. You have to practice and understand. Like we're talking
Yep.
about like the wonderful train, right? To me, I
talking
do
about
that every
practice,
day.
man. Yeah.
You have to put into practice.
Yeah.
This is living. Living is practicing your
Yes.
core values. Because you think about having core value. What's the point of having a core values? It means nothing unless you live in the core value, quote unquote, practice your core value. I mean, you're using it. You cannot have core values unless you're using it.
Unless you're
You
doing
think
them.
about
Yeah,
it.
every
You
day,
say,
right?
hey,
I mean,
Chris, I have integrity, but then I don't use it. What happened?
Yeah.
Do I have it or don't I have it?
it's not a value, it's an idea. So,
Even then,
Yeah.
if I'm telling you I have integrity,
right.
but I don't use it, that means that I'm not being honorable.
You don't have, it's not
So-
real. But-
So if I say I haven't practiced it, so does it? No, I mean, you see my point,
No.
right?
No,
So
you
to
don't.
not have something, if you don't live it, you don't practice it, it doesn't
Agreed.
work,
Agreed.
right?
Yeah, you never go compete, like, and then you're really just it's just sad, honestly, at that point in time. You're like, I want to be
You're
competitive.
just a liar.
Right.
Hey, I'm this person, but I don't practice it, right? Well,
that's
don't tell me
exactly-
that because I can tell you you're not.
So, all right, we are
That's why I laughed at you when you
we're
said we're
officially
gonna
10 minutes
do.
up. We'll talk about that in a second.
You know
all
why
right.
I laughed at you when you said we're
I
gonna get
know.
it
That's-
out.
yeah.
You're 40 minutes over your cap.
I know. All right. Question we can leave for everybody is: Are you thinking industrially or biologically? Like, so are you thinking of problem solving and trying to turn it into assembly line and like, you know, and like interjecting your way on the world, or are you thinking about a biological solution, which is just let things figure out how to be the more natural, and that's the solution, right? So anyway, something to think about, and have a good night.
We'll see you next time.